Welcome back. You're still with us on Business 360. Now, Ukraine says that the Russian offensive along the front line continues as air raid sirens go off in Kyiv. Ukrainian President Zelensky has fired a top military commander leading the fight in the Donbas region, but gave no reason for the move. Russian President Putin, meanwhile, has accused the West of seeking to dismember Russia and fragment it into weak mini-states. CNBC-TV18 Sanjay Suri reports from Kherson airfield, which has now turned into a battlefield.
This is what was Kherson airport. This is how an airfield became a battlefield. The Russians took it within 3 days of their invasion, but the airport lay within range of Ukrainian artillery from neighboring Mykolaiv that the Russians could not take. The Ukrainians inflicted heavy losses on the Russians and their aircraft parked at the airport. But after being forced out in November, the Russians now continue to shell the airport and its neighborhood to make sure that the Ukrainians cannot use it. Kherson will struggle to get back on its feet again, and that prospect appears a very distant dream indeed. And here we hear shelling continuing. Both the Russians and the Ukrainians have taken heavy losses at this airport, but Russians clearly had the worst of it. The airport became a graveyard for Russian aircraft and armor over a period of 6 months since the invasion. Worse followed for the Russians when the Ukrainians launched their counteroffensive and stormed the airport. This is also where a lot of Russian troops who had invaded and taken over were attacked and killed. Russians had entrenched themselves inside the airport terminal. They arrived in buses to reinforce themselves, and you can see the burnt out remains of those buses still here. And this is where they were cornered, and this is where the Ukrainians led a very successful counterattack on the Russian troops who had taken over this airport. And of course, in all that fighting and in all that destruction, nothing remains now of this airport terminal.